to my channel. Hope you're all doing well, of course. This video is all about perfecting your brows or achieving flawless brows in minimal steps. I have a little routine that works really well for me. I don't use many products and it doesn't take that long, and I feel like I want to share it with you guys. I feel like I have addressed my eyebrows in previous videos, but I get so many questions on social media about them that I feel like I need to maybe just do a dedicated video and actually go into a little bit more detail so that all of your questions are satisfied. Sorry if this video is very echoey. I have moved houses and I'm in an actual house now, and it is just echoey. I have to put a rug down because it is crazy. Hopefully my microphone will help. So I am very sorry because I know how annoying that is. I'm going to apply my foundation and I'm not going to set it. That is the key here. We're not going to set our foundation. I'll explain that in a moment. The next main choice you have is whether you apply a powder or you use a pencil or you use a crayon or a brow gel. There are so many different options and so many different things you can choose to apply eyebrows with. Fill your eyebrows with. That's the one. Personally, I much prefer filling in the bulk of my brow with a powder. I feel like I have so much more control when I use a brush and a powder. But of course, you can also use them in conjunction with one another. So if you like one, you can use that one with another one, which is what I choose to do as well. If I'm squinting, it's because I'm closer to my camera now and my lights are like right in my face. The hardest part when it comes to brows is probably choosing the right shade. Now, people say that if you have blonde hair, you have to have blonde brows. If you have platinum blonde hair, you have to have blonde brows. If you have dark hair, you have to have dark brows. No. If you want to have black brows and you have white hair, go for it. Who cares what color your eyebrows are as long as you like them that way, because that's all that matters at the end of the day. That's just the first thing I wanted to get out there. Secondly, if you do want to match it to your hair color, that's where it gets a little bit harder. My main issue with many brow products is that most of them are very warm. So I put them on my face and I fill them in, I put my brows in with them and it's like red, like orangey, and this does not look cute. So I know now that because warm products don't suit me, I have to try cool toned or very taupey grey shades instead. So those are the ones that really suit me. At face value, you might look at like an eyebrow powder that is greyish or like cool toned and you'll be like, but I don't have grey hair. While that is true, they will normally adjust a little bit once they reach your skin. You just gotta have a bit of a trial and error experience. So the reason I chose not to set my foundation with a powder is, okay, so basically a dry product will stick to a wet product much better than a dry product will stick to a dry product. It's as simple as that. Because I use this 24/7, the packaging has pretty much rubbed off, but I use the Sigma Medium Brow Powder Duo and it looks like this. I absolutely love the MAC 266 brush. I have not come across a better brush so far. Okay, so when it comes to filling in the brows, this is such a personal thing. So to figure out where your eyebrow should end, you place some kind of brush or a pen or whatever you want to use at the corner of your nose, and then it skims past the corner of your eye, and that's where your eyebrow should end. To find out where the arch should be, you place the brush at the corner of your nose, the side of your nostril, and then it should go straight through your pupil, and that's where your arch should be. I can't see where my pupil is at the moment because obviously I'm not looking into a mirror, but I'm assuming it's somewhere around there. It's now time to fill them in. I grab a spoolie, which is just one of these little heads here. It doesn't matter what it's on. It could be a mascara one that hasn't been used. It could be on anything. They're on lots of brow products because it just helps with the process, but it's one of these. And I like to brush my hairs up a little bit and then arch and then brush these ones here straight down. All I'm doing is brushing them into the shape that I want them to be in. It just helps a lot if you have something to kind of follow, even just like a slight guideline. It really does help. Then I'm going to use my 266 and my medium brow powder duo. So I like to draw a line from here, from where the bottom of the arch is, to where I want the end of the tail to be. It's just going to be pretty much a straight line, and I'm just going to draw a line from here straight down. So I'm just going to continue that line straight down. Then I'm going to fill in the middle of my brows just lightly, just fill in that little gap. It's hard to describe, but instead of creating a border like an actual square border, I like to just create a line here and then fill upwards and then create another line. You'll see what I mean, but it's hard to explain before I do it. So I'm going to create another line. I'm going to stop there and I'm going to go back to that. The next part of my brows that I like to work on is the arch. So as you can see here, I've got a bit of a sparse patch on my arch, or in my arch. I like to create another line underneath there, just a small little line, just like that, which kind of supports the arch. So we're creating a border underneath the arch. My way of doing my brows is a little bit different than other people's. A lot of other people like to actually create a border before they even fill in the inside. I like to create a line underneath the whole brow, so creating the shape of the brow from the bottom of it, and then fill upwards, so we can actually kind of have more control over how thick it gets, rather than creating the thickness at the very start. I like to work my way up to that point. So then I'm going to fill in the arch, just like we did with the tail. We went straight across the bottom, the line there, and then we started filling it in and working our way higher. I'm doing the same with the arch. So we created that line and then we filled it in a little bit, and now I'm going to go to the top of the arch very carefully, and I just like to create a bit of definition on the top of the brow, just very, very gently. So I'm actually laying the brush on its side, creating an angle rather than going flat, straight in there like that. I'm using it on the sides so that I have a little bit more precision, and I can actually see what I'm doing better as well because my hand's not in the way. It really helps to brush your brows out when you are doing your eyebrows and filling them in, because it disperses the product more evenly and doesn't make it look so drawn on. I'm going to go back into the product and I'm going to start drawing a line underneath the beginning of my brows. So I'm going to start out just before the arch, where we started before, and just draw a very faint line underneath my eyebrow. Now this is my little favorite trick, is instead of going like this and just filling in that area very, very heavily, if you like that look, of course it's perfect, but if you want to have that kind of, how do you even describe it? You know how everyone's brows these days start with a very soft kind of sparse kind of gradient area at the start, and then they work their way to like a very thick, strong brow. This is my way of doing it. So instead of just filling that all in willy-nilly, I'm actually going to push upwards. That's how I achieve that very soft look. I simply just start from that base and I just push the product up into my brows. So that way it's just making it as natural as possible and look as kind of faint as possible. And especially when it comes to the inner corner, you want to use up all of the product in the bulk of the brow on your brush. And when it comes to the beginning of the brow, you want to be really light-handed and not get any more product on the brush, and just simply push it up from the base. So you're getting a really soft look at the beginning of your brow rather than a really intense, heavy kind of block brow. And you can obviously see that the tail of my eyebrow is not defined enough. It looks a little bit sparse in the arch and towards the end of the tail. So you've got two options here. The first is to use a darker brow product. I would normally use this darker one here in the areas that you need a little bit more definition. Just because it's darker, it creates more of an outline and it's more defined. But of course, the only problem with that is you may not want to have a darker arch. You may want it to be all the same shade. In that case, you can go ahead and use a product like this one, which is what I use, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz Crayon in Taupe. And that's basically just a crayon, and it works well because of the different consistency. It's almost like a crayon, or it is a crayon. So it adheres to the skin in a different way than the powder does. So I just like to draw small little lines down the tail. of my brow. And then of course, as always, brushing it out as you go so you can clearly see what shape you're achieving. That is that brow done. Hopefully that was easy to follow. When it comes to setting your brows in place, there are many different products you can use. My personal favorite is using a clear brow gel. I don't like using one that has any pigment or color to it because I don't want to alter what I've already done because I'm happy with how it looks as it is. So I like to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. I also like to use many other different brands, but I'm just going to use this one. So I don't really have anything important to tell you when it comes to using brow gels, besides from using a very gentle hand, not kind of going, like not applying it like you would mascara, but instead just lightly kind of shaping your brows with it, coating them very lightly, because if you apply too much pressure, you're going to remove all of the brow products and all of the effort you just put in. So what I like to do is just start at the arch and the tail. I don't want to put too much product on the beginning of my brows, so I just like to very gently coat them and brush these ones up and then across a little bit, kind of like how we were shaping them with the spoolie earlier. So this is just important if you want your brows to stay in place all day, which of course most of us would. If you put this much effort into your brows, you normally want to make sure that they're cemented down, like they're insured basically. That is the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you could all follow along fairly well. I'm not going to do the rest of my face on camera because it's not really what the video is about. So yes, I appreciate you watching so much. I love you guys heaps, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.